Our focus is really on 3 core elements, and I think that this is a little different than some of the other companies that you might have seen, although I think a lot of companies probably talk about this kind of stuff. We're actually working and making money doing it. The first in our sort of bread and butter is a split between broadcast and advertising service work. So this is agencies, brands, and TV producers and TV networks coming to us looking for interactive extensions for their existing ideas or to come help generate ideas with them. And we'll show you some of those projects. The second is original content. We have 2 online series with Nickelodeon's Teen Network in the States. And we also have an online series with a site called trendhunter.com. And the last vertical that we work in is this emerging technology stream. So what ended up happening is that a lot of the concepts that we would develop might not necessarily have been appropriate for some of the projects we were working on, or we just had ideas that we wanted to extend. And so we find that the sweet spot for us is not in any one of those verticals, because a lot of other people do those things individually. We find the sweet spot for us is in that hybrid of where all 3 of those verticals start to come together, where we can inform any one of the clients or projects that we work with some of the other experiences that we've had. So for instance, we'll show you a project we work with.
We are not a dev shop. We can do dev, and that's fine, mostly front end, and we can build sites, but that's not what gets us going. You know, what gets us going is design, strategy, concept, ideation. So on the design side, we still do a lot of branding for clients. So that's just pure logo design. Positioning statements, strategy, tagline development. We do a lot of advertising from mostly print, so print ads. So your resume should really be a reflection of you and your work and your thinking and your personality and your ability and how you approach things. Yourself. I work with Josh more than I see my wife or children, which is sad.
That's good.
But nevertheless, you work with these people every day. You work under tight timelines. You work into the night with these people. So when a creative director is interviewing you, they're interviewing you for your fit in the agency that they work at as well. That's a huge part of it. You got 5 minutes, and he or she will know whether or not you are a good fit for that agency in 5 minutes. 100%. Sometimes just by walking in the room. How you carry yourself, eye contact, handshake, all that stuff is telling. I got to work with this person? Or yes, I want to work with this person. Speak intelligently, I talked to you about that. For creative people, you don't have to wear a suit, obviously, but like a t-shirt and jeans is probably a little bit too casual. And for the account people in the room, you can come in a suit, especially if you're overdressed and underdressed.
So in 1999 is when we founded Trapeze, and these are some of the things that were happening when I founded Trapeze. Actually, that picture is of with the exception of the 2 girls in the park. That was Trapeze in 1999. And as you can see, there were a whole bunch of things that were around. The very first broadband modems, the Apple had just released the PowerPC, Netscape was around, the Matrix was a huge thing, and we were dealing with Flash 3. Now we're not dealing with Flash much at all, but Flash 3 was the platform upon which we developed great work. So when we first started, what we wanted to be was a producer of original interactive content for a developing broadband network. Actually, I read it now, it makes me laugh because it's so stupid. But what we thought was that broadband and the ubiquity of networks was going to create this opportunity for us to design these interactive entertainment experiences that were different than what you'd find on television, were different than what you'd find in any other medium. We had all of these things that were around at the time. All of these.
Not really our shtick. Ours is more the strategy. So if mass is sort of one strategy, there's a lot of creative agencies out there that focus on mass communication, so getting one message out to as many people as possible. Our job is to get multiple messages out to multiple types of people. So what we sort of talk about and focus a little bit more on is direct marketing. And direct marketing, which depending on who you speak to, can be referred to a channel, direct marketing, DM, direct mail, yeah, that's junk mail, whatever, right? So we look at it much more at the strategic level of direct marketing and define it more as direct marketing is any time where you're having a one-to-one relationship or a one-to-one dialogue with a customer, a consumer, whatever that is. That could be individually, it could be by segment of types of people, whatever that is, right?
The table. So I think when it comes to us, like looking at students' books and portfolios, it's kind of looking at a breadth of work and just ultimately seeing that you guys can think and you can bring a good positive attitude to whatever you're going to do. So like I don't think we'd expect to see like maybe you have some that I'm sure you do like full-blown websites or print campaigns or radio campaigns or you've written a book, right? But if your portfolio or your collection of work, whatever that artifact is kind of filled with your personality and that comes across in your work, then that makes it easier for all of us to kind of judge what kind of person you are. And obviously, the interaction you have when you come face to face too goes probably even further, right? Because we're no matter what agency you're in, it's busy. Like you're working weekends, you're working late nights. I spend more time with this guy than I do with anybody I know. So, like you just fit is massive. Like just being able to get along and again, I think one thing I said it earlier to the other group too, like there's this whole thing of being able to let go of your work as well, because there is obviously in agencies a business bottom line to it. So it's kind of, I'm not sure what I'm getting at. Again, I can put a little like thing, I guess, from the agency world. From I think it's the difference of spec work. It's great, right? Like that shows that you can think. So coming out of school, like you probably either have school projects or you have maybe a few small little things that you've done, but most of it's going to be spec work. And to show that you can think is great, and your ideas can come to life. A spec ad or a spec website or a banner or whatever it is great. But then to also translate that to a business need and a marketing objective, I mean that's kind of our position, and that's where we struggle. Is we have to sell. We're in the business of selling ideas, and our clients are the ones that are paying for it. So we have to be able to sell them the good ideas in a way that we feel good about them, and the ideas are awesome, and they're really going to stand out for us, potentially be award-winning ideas, but also that they're going to drive business for the client, and they're going to make money for them too. So that's just something. Your ideas are who you are in your portfolio. Make them the best you can, but also when you just keep in mind that some of them you're going to have to totally scrap as soon as you start working.
They were fresh, but okay. So Espresso is an integrated marketing agency that blends digital, social, experiential, and traditional marketing tactics with a new rigorous commitment to metrics and measurement, all in the name of solving our clients' business problems in the most effective way possible. As you read that, you're probably having a variety of thoughts. But the reality is we create experiences, not ads. Or at least we try our best to. We don't want to be shouting at people. We don't want to be sending a one-way message. We want to interact with people. And that's what we try to do. So the picture is actually an example of some of that. Who's heard of Twitter? Hopefully mostly everyone. Awesome. A few years ago that would not have been the case. What we did was, today we go to Ubisoft. I don't know if anybody saw these. You could hop on Twitter and put in the hashtag XOTO, and it would show up on the wall. The whole idea with it is it's sort of the early stages of a project we're working on for the city of Toronto. And it's all about people providing tips and advice about things around the city that only people who live here would care about or would know about, as opposed to the usual stuff that's all aimed at tourists. Unfortunately, we're still at the point where we can't talk too much about what it's going to turn into, but that's just sort of an example of like, we're really into social media. It's a big thing, like just like everybody else, it seems. So anyway, while we're on the subject, if you could follow XO2 on Twitter, that'd be a really big help. So another project that we did recently was the corporate site for Carlsberg, the beer that you all saw in the fridge, and then I had to very passionately ask you to not drink. Yeah, so I mean, a big part of what we do is also like branding, identity work, that sort of thing. So the entire look of their new site, a lot of the ads around town. When did we launch the site? Do you remember? So early summer. So we did a bunch of ads around, like in particular a lot of the bus shelters. So we did stuff like it was targeted to the different areas that it was in. So financial district would have one message, up Queen Street would have another one, that sort of thing. We did stuff like we created maps where you could find the nearest bar that had Carlsberg or TFC partner bars, that sort of thing. I'm going to jump through these really quickly because Q&A is really part of it. Many of us really want to talk about. Another thing we did was after that we worked on Big Wedding Bash for Carlsberg, which was a big contest where couples entered. They had to give votes. This couple here actually won, and they won a $100,000 wedding. So again, it sort of shows like you know, it's not always just ads, it's not always just advertising, it's sometimes it's, you know, contest stuff where you're trying to create a little bit of experience. And then they had their wedding actually just a couple weeks ago. A few of us got to go. So, you know, working on stuff like that and the booklet, and that's just up there just so you can see. They actually did have a very Carlsberg themed wedding. It was